Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. It has been a very long time since I made a video. Last time I made a video I was 37 weeks pregnant, and I was like, this is probably going to be the last time you see me pregnant. Well, technically it was, but it wasn't the last time I was pregnant. So now it is it is February 2nd, and I have a month-year-old baby. So month-year-old. I have a month-old baby. So I just thought today I would tell you my birth story. It's the first time I've had on makeup since probably the last video I filmed, if I wore makeup in that video, because I only ever wore makeup for videos, even if I did that, like, so I feel pretty today. So, um, I apologize. I might have to pause this video a lot. I have Aria laying here next to me, and she's fully awake, and I don't know if she's gonna fall asleep, and I also don't know if she's gonna cooperate much, so I might have to pause this video a bunch. And she dropped her binky. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, I'm back. If you hear her cooing or making little noises, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. She's adorable and her noises are so cute. Hi. Oh my god, I want to eat her. She's so cute. Okay, so, um, I my due date was December 26th, which is the day after Christmas. And I last talked to you guys when I was 27 weeks pregnant, which is the beginning of like when you're full term. And I was so sure. I was like, I mean, technically you're still a little early in full term, but like it's okay to have a baby. So I was so sure that I was going to have her at 37 weeks. I was like, oh, this is it. She's going to come. She didn't come. 38 weeks. She's going to come. She didn't come. 39 weeks. She's going to come. She didn't come. So the week before my due date, which was, or a Monday before my due date, right? Is that when I had my appointment? Or was it, it was either the 22nd or 23rd that I had a doctor's appointment. And they're like, okay, so your due date is the 26th. If you don't have her by then, do you just want to schedule for next Monday to be induced? I'm sorry if I'm shaking this a lot. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm sure I'm going to have her before then. That's not a big deal. Like, yeah, let's do it. So we scheduled for Monday after Christmas. And so Christmas comes around and I'm like, dude, she's coming today. So I wake up early in the morning. I go for a walk. Don't even wake up my husband. Just go for a walk. Come back, open gifts with him. Then he has to go to work. Then I'm like, okay, cool. I got a bunch of FabFitFun stuff. So I like throw on my FabFitFun stuff, go for an even longer walk, because I'm like, she's coming out today. She's going to be a Christmas baby. You just wait and see. I told you she's going to be a Christmas baby. She didn't come. So then her due date comes, and I'm like, okay, cool. She's going to come on her due date. That's fine. She'll just have her birthday the day after Christmas. Not a big deal. So again, I'm walking and doing all the things. At this point, I'm doing all the things to try to make her come, except for like drinking that thick liquid that they tell you not to drink, because it could like, it's not going to work. It's just going to give you diarrhea. So I don't do that. But like, I'm eating spicy foods. I'm walking constantly. I'm bouncing on my ball. I'm trying all the things. And no, she doesn't come on her due date. So I keep doing this throughout the weekend until Monday rolls around and I have to be in at 7 a.m. at the hospital to be induced. And I'm terrified about being induced. I have heard, hello, are you just stretching? So cute when you stretch. I've heard, like, all these things. Like, I really didn't want to, like, give my baby a huge, like, chemical cocktail before she was born and stuff. So I was, like, really, I didn't want to be induced. Just, like, I didn't want to have an epidural and all this stuff. So when I get to the hospital, I don't know what's going to happen because, Corona and everything's going on, and I'm like, can my husband even come in with me? Like, yeah, your husband can come in. So my husband comes in, they put us in the room, and like they put me in the little like gown thing, and then they try to hook up the heart monitors so they can monitor baby's heart. Except for I've been going in for weeks to the hospital to check it every week, and I always have to hold the monitor on myself. And they're like, okay, we're going to try this other monitor we have because you're not having a baby today. We're just going to give you medicine to like soften your Not my uterus. What is it? My uterus? My Oh my god. Words escape me. Like even after pregnancy, you still have pregnancy brain. Um, placenta? No. Yes? Maybe. I don't know. Soften something. Cervix? Cervix. Soften my cervix. And oh my god, what was I saying? They were giving me a medicine to soften my cervix, so they told me right away, they're like, you're not having a baby today. I'm like, okay, cool. So they checked me, and I was still only, what, like 1.5 centimeters dilated when I got there, which sucked. But I was like, that's fine, we'll do this, it'll kickstart things. So they try to put the monitor on you when they give you the medicine, except for I'm a big girl, and the monitor hasn't been working on me to begin with, so they tried this new monitor that's like Bluetooth, and like they have to like scratch your stomach with this like sandpaper stuff to get it to stick and activate. And they do it like throughout the process, they probably do it like 5 or 6 times. So I had like these scratches all over my stomach where they tried different areas, but it wouldn't work because like it wouldn't connect to the machine, and then it would like come on for a second and then go off and say that half of the things are working and then half of them weren't. It was a pain in the ass. They even had like one come in from another hospital, like a machine like come in from another hospital to like see if it would work, and it didn't. And I was just like, so we fought with this for like 2 days, 2 or 3 days till I literally had her. And then they tried the other one, and then they put me in like these big pair of Spanx to like hold it in position so it wouldn't move, which means I couldn't move. So like you know how most people during labor get to move and like walk around. I literally had to stay still the entire time. It was horrible. And the first day we get there, me and my husband didn't eat because it was 7 in the morning, and I was terrified. And so noon rolls around, and my husband isn't feeling good. And I'm looking at him, and he's like laying down in the bed that like they have for the husbands, and he's like not feeling good, like really like nauseous and stuff. And they have me order lunch, and I like save half of it for him because I'm like, you okay? Because you really don't look good. He's like, I don't feel so good. I can't even eat. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be the one in pain. What are you doing? Stop trying to steal my thunder. But he ended up having a really bad migraine, and I actually sent him home that night because when they hook you up to the machines to monitor your heart rate, they put them on this. You so sad. They put them on this machine that's really loud, and it was just like worsening his migraine. Wait, do you want a bottle? Hold on, I'm gonna go get her a bottle. Anyways, so when they hook you up, they put it comes to this machine, and it's like super loud, like it's like bloop bloop, like it's like so loud, like when it first starts, it startles you kind of loud. So it kept coming on and off, and then like the machines kept going on and off because the sensors would move and they weren't detecting the heartbeat, like because the sensors would move, not that there was anything wrong, but it would like the machines were going off really loud, and no nurses were coming in to fix them. So like his migraine was just like going crazy, and I knew it was going to be like this all night until like we kind of went to labor. So I told him like, hey, we're not going into labor anytime soon. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, go home. He's like, what? I can't do that to you. I'm like, oh my god, please, I'm stressing out more about you like having this headache, and every time the machine goes off, I'm worried more about you than anything else. So just go home, take something, because they couldn't give him anything. Like they could give me stuff, but they couldn't give him anything because he wasn't their patient. And so I sent him home. He went home, took some medicine, slept in bed, saw the cat, and then he came back the next morning and he was great. Um, so the first day they gave me the not the Pitocin, something else to soften my cervix. And then, Gabriel, shut up. I'm trying to film. Why does everybody want to ruin this for me? So then, the next day comes around, and they're still softening it, and they're like making me try these different positions and stuff. And the food at this hospital, no offense, the food was horrible. Like it was worse than like cafeteria food as a kid. It was the most bland, disgusting food I've ever had in my life. And we brought snacks, and I didn't eat any of them, but like the food was horrible. Like the best thing I actually had was, I think the first day I had a breakfast burrito that was really good. That was the best thing I had the entire time I was there. Everything else was gross. And like they bring you, like they always say, oh, order a lot of food, don't necessarily eat it all, which I definitely couldn't eat it all because they didn't want me to be too full from when it was time or whatever. So I was ordering a bunch of stuff because I'm like, I'm gonna give some to Mark because he's here anyways. And nothing was good. They had some baked Lay's potato chips. Those were pretty good. Like they had, you know what, this isn't about that. The food was horrible though. Hospital food is horrible. And it's so weird because as a kid, like my grandma worked at a hospital and their food was bomb. So I don't know. But so they're giving me more of the stuff to like soften my cervix, and it's like softening, but it's not there yet. And this goes on for like 2 days. And then third day they decide to give me Pitocin. Is that the one that starts your contractions, I believe? Yeah. And they kept telling me they're like, oh, you're having a contraction. I'm like, no, I'm not. This is not a contraction. What are you talking about? So then they give me the Pitocin, and then the contractions really start. And they're all back contractions because she was up against my backbone, and it was great. So after like the first hour, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the epidural, even though I really didn't want epidural. I'm like, I'm gonna get the epidural because this is gonna get intense, and she's right up against my back, which is what I was worried about the most, was having a back labor. So I had them come in, and I did the whole thing, and they gave me the epidural, and it didn't really hurt when they did it. I was so scared it was gonna hurt, but it didn't hurt. Yes, go to sleep. And so they're like, oh, here, push this button when you need it. I was like, okay, cool. So my contractions start rolling in, and I'm like, I can feel these. He's like, you should be able to feel them, but like you should be able to talk through them. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm like, well, I can feel these. So I'm pushing the button, and I'm pushing the button, and I'm like worried to push the button. I'm like, am I pushing the button too much? And he's like, oh. And finally somebody's like, oh, the button will, if you push it too soon, it won't go again. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm pushing the button because I feel everything. And then the guy comes back and he's like, well, I told you when I did it that, my needle was barely long enough to reach your back or whatever he was trying to reach. He's like, so I could do it again because it might just not be in the right spot. And I'm like, no, that's fine. He's like, or I can up the amount of stuff that you're getting. And I'm like, okay, do that. So he gives me like a big dose of it, like a double dose of it right there. And then, sorry. And then is like, if it doesn't work and you keep having a problem, okay, fine, go to sleep. Call me back and we can do it again. And I'm like, okay, cool. So some time goes by. It's not really working. I'm like, oh, should we call him back? And then, because I heard him say that he was leaving at 4. I look at the clock and it's 5:30, and I'm like, he's not here. I'm like, he's the good guy. Everybody told me that he is the best. I'm like, he's not here, which means I'm gonna have some other guy I don't know shoving a needle in my spine. I'm like, no, we'll deal with it. We'll just keep pushing the button a lot and hope that it works. I just want to say it didn't fucking work at all. The only thing the epidural did was numb the top part, like the thigh area of my left leg. That part was super, super numb. Besides that, I felt everything, and my contractions lasted for like 8 hours. So I had back contractions for 8 hours, and then my doctor comes in, and oh my god, thank god it was my favorite doctor, and I was so excited. Or my favorite midwife, I guess they're not doctors, I don't know. She delivered my baby, so like in my head she's a fucking doctor. But she came in and she's like, okay, Kirsten, you're like X far along, we're gonna break your water. I'm like, cool. So I'm thinking this is gonna hurt. She breaks my water, she's like, okay, done. I'm like, what? And she's like, oh, it's done. I'm like, that was it? She's like, yeah. She's like, okay, so your contractions should start picking up more now, and things should start moving. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now that they've like broken my water, they can use this other device that they can like put on baby's head to hear baby's heartbeat. So like they put a heart monitor on baby's head inside of me. Really crazy. And my contractions keep coming, and I'm dying. Like I'm physically dying. Like I'm breathing through them. And they're like, okay, well, you're not coming as much as we want. We need you to like something. So they make me put this ball between my legs and like one way, and then they come back and make me lay another way. And I'm like, at this point, it's like been 8 hours of back contractions, and I'm dying. I remember looking at my husband, and I'm like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Like the back and because I'm like exhausted at this point because I haven't slept because these monitors have been on me this whole time. Here, you want this? There you go. And I haven't been able to move or get comfortable in this bed. So I'm like, I need this to be done. And they're like, oh, you know that it's time to push when you feel like you're about to shit yourself. Like you have to poop the worst, like the biggest poop of your life. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm waiting for that. And finally they come back in and they're like, you're almost there. You're at like 7 centimeters. And I'm like, so like they give me something to like help shit along, and then like my doctor comes in and I'm like, I feel like I have to poo. Like I really feel like I have to poo. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll call the doctor in, we'll have her check. She's delivering another baby right now, so I have to wait for her to deliver another baby. So she comes in and she's like, okay, Kirsten, let me check. And I'm like, it's not gonna be there. I know it's not ready. She's like, okay, you're ready. She's like, we're gonna have you push. I'm like, okay, cool. So I tell her like as I start pushing, I'm like, I'm gonna poop on the table. She's like, no, 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 you're not pooping. I'm like, no, I'm pooping. She's like, no, no, you're not pooping. Don't worry, you're not pooping. I legit swear to you, I thought I was gonna poop. So they're like, okay, like in between, every time a contraction comes, they have you push, and I push and I push and I push and I pushed her out in 20 minutes. I pushed her out in 20 minutes because I was so exhausted after 8 hours, I'm gonna cry, of back contractions that I needed her out. And there was one point where they're like, oh my god, we can see her head, we can see her hair, and I could feel myself rip. And I told my husband before, I'm like, I know I'm gonna rip. And he's like, stop talking about it, it scares me. And I'm like, I know I'm gonna rip. It's not gonna bother me. I'm having a big baby, she's gonna rip me. And I felt the moment I ripped. I felt it, and I was like, oh my, and I'm screaming at like every time I push, I scream because, well, only towards the end when I started to rip, I I screamed, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take some of that energy. You're wasting energy screaming, and you should be focusing on pushing. And like when I ripped, I was like, they make you stop in the middle when like she crowns. They make you stop. They're like, okay, we're gonna have you stop for a second and breathe. And I'm like, are you kidding me? When I tell you the pain, I'm like, no, 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 we're not stopping. I'm like, let's just get her out. I'm like, because this pain I can't handle and it's just going to get worse. So let's just get her out. So I pushed through it. And she was delivered in 20 minutes. She was, I need to, you spitting up a little bit, Missy. She was 9 pounds, 10 ounces. And she whipped me. And when she came out, I had forgotten to say this. When they popped my popped my placenta, I feel like that's not the right term, but when they did the thing with my placenta and and broke my water, when they broke my water, it was green because she had unfortunately pooped inside of me, which is, I heard that that's something babies do when they are distressed, but she didn't seem distressed. So because of that, when she came out, they had to like clean her out to make sure she hadn't swallowed any of the poop. You were just dribbling all over yourself. Um, hold on, I'm gonna stick this under your chin so you're there. There you go. No, don't move it. So she had pooped herself, so they had to like take her away from me right away and like clean her up and like make sure. So I didn't get skin to skin right away. I also didn't get to cut the cord, which like I wasn't worried about because I was like, if I can reach it, I'll cut it. But like I was so tired after pushing it. Like the pushing was exhausting, but the 8 hours of contractions was way worse. So they take her and they're like doing the thing where they rub her down when she doesn't cry right away, and then like finally they get her to cry, and like I'm trying to look at her but I have like all this stuff on me, and they're like, okay, there she is, and they take her away from me right away to like go clean her up and stuff, which means I she also didn't get to keep that thick white stuff on her, which I didn't want them to bathe her for the first 24 hours, but because she had poo all over her, they kind of had to. So a lot of things that I had wanted to do that were in my birth plan that didn't happen, but when you're in the moment, it doesn't even matter. It like honestly, you're like whatever she needs, do it. Whatever she needs, do it. So she is born and she's over here, like 20 feet away from me, 20 to 30 feet away from me at a table with two nurses, and I haven't really seen her yet. I know she came out. I heard her cry for a second, and I can sort of see like a leg of them like cleaning her and going over her and like sucking out like all the stuff inside her to make sure that she's okay. Do you want your binky now? Cause you're just a mess right now. There you go. So sorry, this video is all over the place. Taking care of a newborn's hard. So my husband goes over and he like takes a picture of her and I'm like, or he goes over and he sees her. I'm like, Mark, go check on her. So he goes over and then they're like, oh, take a picture of her. And they like take his phone, take a picture of her, and then he comes back to me, and it's been 5 minutes, and I'm getting stitched up at this point. My midwife is stitching me up because I've ripped, and also pulling out my placenta, which my husband got to see, which he said was crazy, and I felt it come out, and it was just like this big gush, but like he's like it started out small, and then all of a sudden it was just huge, and I'm like, well, yeah, our baby wasn't that. What the hell did you expect? So my doctor's like sewing me up, so this is taking a while. Like I still haven't got to hold Aria yet. She's still over there being clean and stuff, and like they're sucking everything out and making sure she's okay, making sure she's breathing right, that her heart's good and everything, because I guess maybe they thought she was distressed in there, like just I think it was just because she had like pooed in there and everything and baby stuff. So they were checking her and everything, and Mark goes over, he looks, he's like, oh, she's beautiful, she's big. I'm like, cool. And they're like, oh, he want to take a picture for you, and then they take a picture and he like puts his phone away. I'm like, Mark, can I see the picture? He's like, what? I'm like, can I see the picture? I haven't seen my daughter yet. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So he like shows me the picture, and it's like pictures. It's literally like a picture of her like upside down because they're like cleaning her and stuff. But she just has like the chunkiest cheeks. Maybe I can pull up the picture because I'm not ashamed. Why would I be ashamed? My baby is cute. And I'm just like, oh, she's so sweet. I'm like, I haven't seen her yet, so I'm sitting there being set up, and I'm like, am I good? Is everything like I'm talking to my midwife, and I'm like, everything good down there? Like, we good? She's like, yeah, you did great. You did amazing. I'm like, awesome. So this is I don't know if you can see. Oh, my ring light. There she is. That's the first picture I got to see of her, and then the second one was like her like legs in the air. I was like, what is going on? They were just like cleaning her and stuff, but she had the chunkiest cheeks. Like she was a chunker. Oh my god, she was actually smaller like in the face and stuff now than she was when she was born. I think it's because she had been like upside down for like 2 months. They're like, oh, with those chunky cheeks. But I kept asking him, like, so can I have skin to skin with her now? Can I have skin to skin with her now? Do you not want that? Can I have skin to skin with her now? Because that's all I wanted. But like in the moment when she came out, didn't even think about that. I was so tired. I was like, I thought I'd be really upset that they took her away and I didn't get to do skin to skin, but I was so tired. It wasn't even the first thing on my mind at that point. So finally, I get to do skin to skin, and there's pictures of that, but I'm not showing them to you because I look horrible. Like, I smelled horrible. I looked horrible. Like, all I wanted was to take a shower. I kept apologizing to all the nurses and stuff because they like hold your legs. Like, my husband was on this side holding my legs up, and then another nurse was on this side holding my legs up, and I was supposed to push against them. My husband told me later that I have really strong legs, and it was like holding a horse back. So yeah, which explains why you're so strong with your legs, Missy. But I kept apologizing to everybody because I knew I smelled horrible because I had been in this bed for like 3 days and I hadn't been able to get up, and I've just been sweating and gross, and like ugh, all I wanted, they tell you that first like shower is amazing. That first shower is amazing because you feel disgusting. Like I didn't want my daughter, like when she got on me the first time, like I'm gonna stink. Like I don't hi, you didn't care though. You didn't care at all. But like I stink, and I don't want her to have to smell me for the first time. And I got to hold her, and then I got to try breastfeeding, which is like I might make a whole different, actually I don't want to make a whole different video on breastfeeding. I'm just going to put it in this. Breastfeeding is hard. Breastfeeding's really hard. Um Especially when your milk doesn't like come in as fast as you want and your baby's hungry and you're trying. And the thing that really upset me most was the everybody telling you what to do. Like the breastfeeding consultant came in and like literally shoved my entire boob in my baby's mouth. Like they were very, very aggressive, and they make you feel bad when you're not doing it right. Like they make you feel bad, and like I instantly started getting mom guilt as soon as my baby was born. People instantly started making me feel bad about things I was doing, and it was horrible. So like I totally get this whole like mom shaming thing. Like fucking people shame you as soon as your baby's born. I mean, like I was being shamed before because I had family members who were like, "Oh, you're gonna breastfeed," which is usually not the thing. Usually it's the opposite. Like people are like, "Oh, you're doing formula," but like I literally had people who were like, "Oh, you're gonna breastfeed?" Okay. And then when she came out and I wanted so bad to breastfeed and I tried to breastfeed her and these people were just shoving my boob in her mouth and like every time they were there, like she didn't want to breastfeed like that because like they made me hold her in weird ways. And like when they weren't there, like I would get her to breastfeed and they're like, "Oh, you didn't even give her enough. Like she wasn't latched well enough." And like it was just like this whole thing. And then we actually moved rooms like next day because she was born at 1:42 a.m. on the 30th of December, which is weird because it was like an hour into the next day and we ended up going to sleep right after she was born because I was exhausted and it was like 1 a.m. in the morning. Or well, I guess it was around 2 or 3 in the morning. And somebody came while I was sleeping and they did her and they gave her a bath. And then when she came back, she smelled so good. And so by the time we woke up in the morning at like 5 a.m. to like, start breastfeeding her, it felt like it had already been like 24 hours. So our internal clock of the hospital was real fucked up. I felt like we were there for over a week. And then they had us move to another room. And then we found out the next morning when they came in, not the morning like of her being born, but like the next morning they came in, they're like, "Oh, she's kind of yellow. She has jaundice," so they had to put her under this light thing. And I'd already been struggling with breastfeeding her, and people just like constantly like telling me how to do it and watching me and just like shoving my boob in my baby's mouth and like it was just this whole thing. And they're like, "Oh, do you see what I'm doing?" I'm like, "No, I can't see through your freaking blue gloves. What the fuck you're doing?" But it was just this whole thing that was like very invasive, and it was probably the worst part about being at the hospital. Labor was whatever, but like that was horrible. And I'm not one of those people who's like, "Oh, don't touch me, don't look at my boobs." I was literally naked like the whole time I was at the hospital after she was born. Like my tits were out constantly because I was constantly trying to get her to latch and stuff. I had no fucking shame. But it was just like somebody trying to shove my entire breast into my child's mouth when she's like obviously not liking it. And they're like, "This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Also, don't like choke her because I have big boobs. Like, I can't just sit her here and like breastfeed because when my bra isn't on, my boob's down here. So, like, I have to hold her down here and like my boob will suffocate her because it's ginormous and she's tiny." And it was just this whole thing because I literally watched a YouTube video of somebody else, Bits of Brie, breastfeed her child at night when she does nightly feedings. She literally picks up her baby and just puts him to her boob and breastfeeds. I wanted to punch her in the face because I fucking wish. No, my boobs are huge. They will suffocate her. They fall on her. I have to get her at an angle where, like, it was just, even with a pillow, it was just, I had this setup that finally worked for me that used like 3 pillows and like holding her and then like making sure that my boob was in her mouth but didn't cover her nose and suffocate her and that she actually latched and then I had to make sure that like her jaw or whatever was moving back here to make sure that she was actually drinking and then I had to burp her right away afterwards. And then we find out she has jaundice, which means she has to supplement with formula anyways because she has to go under this light and she has to be in the only thing she can wear is a diaper. She has to sit under this light. And my nurse told me that if she cries, we're not allowed to pick her up. She's like, I'm like, "Well, what do I do if she cries?" She's like, "Well, not all babies cry, so we'll get there when we get there." I'm like, "But that doesn't answer my question to what I do if she cries." She's like, "Well, because originally it was like, if she's under light, you can't mess with her or anything." I'm like, "Okay, so if she cries, what do I do?" And they're like, "Oh, nothing." So I immediately start crying. So I'm like, my baby's going to cry and there's nothing I can do about it. So at one point, my baby throws this huge fit under the light. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, "What do I do?" So I call the nurse. The nurse doesn't come. Finally, the head nurse comes. She's like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you picking up your baby?" I'm like, "My nurse told me I'm not allowed." She's like, "Of course you have to pick up your baby. It's your baby. You have to soothe your baby." I'm like, "Thanks." And then my nurse comes in afterwards, because I'm guessing this nurse talked to her, gets up in my face and is like, "I never said you couldn't pick up your baby." I want to cry so hard because I had already cried because I knew that when she went down there, I couldn't pick her up if she cried, which sucked because, like, that's your child. And I cried already because I knew that I wasn't producing enough milk to make her happy and I couldn't get her to latch. And then to find out that I had to give her formula because of the jaundice thing, that we had to give her formula, really fucking killed me on the inside because people were already judging me like the fucking breastfeeding specialist. Fuck that woman. She was a cunt. She was a straight up cunt. All the nurses were amazing except for these two nurses I had, which were older women. The lactation specialist, and then this one nurse, the nurse that got up in my face and was like, I never said you couldn't pick up my baby. And of course, I had her for like 2 or 3 days out of the entire time I was there. She was the worst. She was also, I think, racist. But when I tried to report her, the woman who I had to report her to was the lactation specialist, and she told me I was wrong and didn't say anything. So, fuck both of them. So I was like having a great time and feeling super like responsible for the fact that I couldn't produce enough to keep her happy, that I couldn't get her to latch well, that she had jaundice, like all these things I felt completely responsible for, and like I was a bad parent, and like instantly felt that mom guilt. That was horrible. And then when the lactation specialist found out that I had to give her formula, she judged me so hard. It made me feel so bad. So bad. I mean, like, these people are supposed to help you. They're supposed to help you. To like make a new mother feel so bad because I had to, because formula is supposed to help with the jaundice or something. It's supposed to help like help their kidneys or something develop. I don't something. I don't fucking know what the jaundice is, but the jaundice sucked. The jaundice was horrible. I had to sit her in this machine and they had to put like these goggles on her so like the light wouldn't hurt her eyes, and I kept having to adjust the goggles because I didn't want like because she would move and the goggles would move and I didn't want her to go blind. And you got hiccups? You got hiccups, ma'am? And I just like it was so hard. I'd have to like turn off the machine and like take her out to breastfeed or try to feed her every once in a while. And even though they were giving her formula, like, oh, try to feed her anyways. And I'm like, okay. And then of course the bottle that they give her at the hospital has a nipple that is very big and the opening is wide because they just want her to get the milk fast. So she would drink a bottle in about 2 minutes. So by the time she got back to like being able to like try to breastfeed, she didn't want my boob because she didn't have to work on that bottle, but she has to work on my boob. So she stopped drinking my boob completely. So I had to go completely to formula because of the bottles that the hospital provided. I did come home and try to pump and put them in the same bottles, but my milk dried up, and yeah, just fun time. So I felt horrible because now I am completely formula based, which, I mean, in all honesty, it's easier. It wasn't the route I wanted to go, but it's easier, and it really kind of sucks. Like, cause now when WIC calls me and asks me, they're like, oh, are you breastfeeding? And I'm like, no. They're like, oh, we really would prefer you to breastfeed. And so did her pediatrician the first day I went in. Was like, oh yeah, that's why breastfeeding is the best. And I'm like, bitch, I fucking know breastfeeding is the best. That's why I wanted to fucking do it. That's why it was the main thing I wanted to do. But our baby is healthy and happy and growing, and she is the cutest baby in the world. Oh my god. She literally, everybody was coming in and was like, oh my god, her cheeks. Every nurse that came in was like, oh my god, her cheeks. She's so cute. And I was like, yeah, she's pretty cute, but she's gotten even cuter. Like, her cheeks have, like, the swelling in her cheeks has gone down, and she has, like, the perfect baby face. Except for she has little baby acne right now. She just like in the last week has gotten baby acne. It is so sad. Like it's so sad. But she's such a pretty girl, and I guess I will show you guys her. Cause that's important. Anyways, her jaundice went away and everything. Obviously, after they put her under the lamp, her jaundice went away. We got to bring her home and she was all happy and healthy. But the birthing part isn't always the hardest part of having a baby. So, can I show them you? Can I show them how cute you are? Hold on, this is the best part. Come here, snug bugs. Sorry, it's a cold day here in Florida, like probably the coldest day we've had. So she's all bundled up. She's even got little mitts on her hands. Hold on, let me get that milk off your face. Come here, snug bugs. Come here, snug bugs. Oh, hi. You want to say hi? Oh, yeah. Oh, you got hiccups. I feel so bad when you got the hiccups. So this is this is Aria, our little baby squirrel who has actually really good neck control, but she's like a little milk junk right now, which means she has no neck control. You gonna look at the okay, this is there you go. This is Aria. She's our sweet little angel fluff. She was 9 pounds 10 ounces. She was 21 inches long. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what else there was. She was perfect though in every way. When she came out, she was absolutely perfect, and she is just the sweetest little girl. And now she's 1 month, and I swear to God, she's already smiling. Like she's been smiling so much this last week. Yes, she has, and she's a really good sleeper. And yeah, you can see all her baby acne right there. It's so sad. It's so sad. This is actually the worst it's been. Is this like little spot right there? But she had her 1 month appointment yesterday, and I just got medicine for it. So yay, yay! I'm so sorry you have hiccups, sweetheart. This is good though. After she has hiccups though, she usually goes to sleep because hiccups are exhausting, aren't they, Snugbug? Yeah. So this is my baby girl, and that was my birth story for the most part. I'm sure I forgot stuff, but you really do forget it afterwards. I remember right afterwards. I'm gonna sit you back down. I remember right afterwards. I was like, "Oh, that was horrible. We're never doing that again. That was it. We're not having another kid. Do you want this? No? Okay. I'm just gonna cover you up, little snuggie." But I remember being like, I'm never doing that again. That was so painful. This is the only kid we're having. I remember like waddling to the bathroom and being like, oh my God, this is fucking horrible. Um, and then about a week later, when I had my first appointment with the doctor, which is like, it was a week after my due date, or a week after the Monday that I went in to get induced. Yeah. For little hiccups. By then, I'd fallen completely in love with her. Like, I can't tell you the kind of love you feel for your baby. Like, I don't know if everybody does, but like, this baby's my whole life. She's literally the love of my life. I can't imagine life without her now. Like, she is so perfect and so sweet. And like, I watch her sleep and I just cry. Like, for the first week, it was really bad. I would just cry all day looking at her. My hormones have calmed down a little bit since then. Like, I will say, the first week after you give birth, your hormones are, oh my God, you think pregnancy hormones are bad? No. The hormones you get after giving birth are like next level. I cried so much in the hospital after she was born. Like, I would just look at her and cry. And then, like, when I got home, I would just, like, look at her and just weep with, like, the happiest, like, tears of joy. Like, I made that. Like, I made that. Would you like this? Are you sure you don't want this? Do you want your bottle? We can give you whatever you want. Yeah? And, like, I look at her and all I want, like, me and my husband were just like, oh, I can't wait till she gets to this point, and I can't wait till she gets to this point, like, can't wait till she has, like, she can, like, sit up straight with her neck. She's getting there, though. And then we're like, oh, I can't wait till she starts doing those little baby walks where, like, they walk and they just, like, they're so off balance, and we're just, like, it's all the milestones that we can't wait for. And, like, I'm so blessed that, like, I get to experience those with her. Like, I made that. Hold on. So yeah, um, having a baby is amazing. Like, I am so tired. There are nights when I wake up and I can't, like, when she needs her night feedings and night changing, I wake up in the middle of the night. Yes, but I stretch it out, and I can't physically open my eyes. I'm so exhausted. Um, but then, like, when I when I finally like look at her, I don't care. Like, she's worth every sleepless night and like every irritation, like when she won't go to sleep, like times like now where she just won't go down. No, she won't go down. Like yesterday was a really bad day, but like I just look at her and I'm just like I would do it all over again. Like I would literally give birth every day. Like that's how much we're gonna switch. That's how much I love her. She give me that. Take this. See, you like that better. But like she's incredible. I gotta go. This has been 40 minutes of me blabbering about my birth and now just blabbering about how much I love my baby. So, yeah. Sorry if you made it to the end. I know nobody made it to the end, which I totally understand. That's fine. But, moral of the story is baby's amazing and I love her and I can't imagine life without her. So, yeah. Um, thank you for watching, and hopefully there'll probably be more like baby videos coming up in the future. Hopefully there'll be more videos. They aren't the easiest to film right now because literally your whole day can be gone just like doing stuff with her. Like I don't eat during the day sometimes. Like it's 12:44 and I haven't eaten a single thing today. So we'll see if I eat in the next 2 to 3 hours. She's a good girl, but yeah. So trying to film doesn't happen. I can't believe I got to put on makeup today. Like I feel incredible today. So yeah, so I will try to get out videos when we move into our house, which I fucking can't wait for. I just wish more people would put up houses on the market so we could move faster. I would definitely film more. I will have more space. The studio is cramped as shit with her now. There's just we need a house. We need a house ASAP. So yeah, I would love to be making more videos. I'm so excited. I will obviously do like house videos when we move in because oh, I fucking can't wait. I have all these plans and I just need a house to do them in. So yeah. If you guys like these kind of videos, please feel free to subscribe. I'm sure more videos will come out sometime. I did just get a new eyeshadow palette. I got the Raw Christy Beauty eyeshadow palette with ColourPop, and I'm obsessed with it. So maybe I'll do some looks with that because she's out. Yes, because I used to do it with my makeup, and I'm sure I'll do my makeup again once upon a time. So yeah, I have got to go. This has been 3 minutes of an outro. I'm so sorry. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.